Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to my channel. Working on a 91 Dodge Ram b250 with a 318 5.2 liter. Showing you what we did as far as replacing the ignition distributor. So the owner of this vehicle wanted everything on the whole entire ignition system replaced, and especially a tune-up. The vehicle, a few weeks ago, I got it to start at least 20 times with no problem. Then all of a sudden she dies again. She'll turn over, but she doesn't want to start. We did the old school trick, saying that the crankshaft position sensor was bad. I located everything on this vehicle as far as where the crankshaft sensor is. There's nothing on the bell housing, nothing on the rear of the motor, nothing in behind the starter, the manifold, nowhere to be found. So I asked some mechanics. I talked to over 30 people, and they said this has to be an early 91 because there's no crankshaft position sensor. It's all dealing with the distributor. I could be wrong. That's what I was told. This is a Hall effect situation. So the owner wanted to change it anyway because the previous owner only changed the cap and never changed this. And as we can see here, that the previous owner has rigged this thing. These wires must have been, somebody must have broke the plug and they rigged it, or broke the wires, because this situation happened here because this was actually plugged up to the broken connector on the engine harness, was actually hot glued in here, and I can see there is some type of wire. And I don't know why they just didn't replace the whole distributor. Maybe back then they didn't have a problem with it. It looks like it's pretty rusty in here. It looks like the rotor motor has seen better days. I don't know about any other damage in this thing as far as how rusted it is. I'm not really familiar, but I don't know if there's supposed to be any oil inside the hole where the distributor goes, because there's a lot of oil and gunk from when this vehicle came to us with a major a valve cover oil leak, and the oil pan was leaking. I've already taken care of the oil leak problem with the valve covers. And we did put the brand new distributor on. It is an aftermarket because I could not find Mopar brand anymore. I contacted Dodge. They don't carry it. Couldn't find anywhere online that's made to fit this particular vehicle. And all the ones I found at the junkyard, that is 45 minutes away. Only one junkyard has this vehicle. They're all rusted to hell. I was told good luck with the aftermarket, but we're going to try it anyway and see what happens. So I did use the firing order. It was online. It's not very common to find the 318 5.2 liter for this van diagram. The Haynes book I have doesn't have it either. So what I did is I got the diagram offline, only one I could find, instead of paying $3.99 for it, because it's just basically a sticker. Before I took it off, I actually looked at the diagram, followed the wires. I put numbers on the old one, so when I took it off, I would know exactly where the new ones go. So after and especially the way this faced, this was actually facing like this, and the wire was rigged, was wrapping around in between the coil and the new distributor. So I put it in the same exact way it came out. And since I got a little confused and lost for some odd reason, I actually, before I put these wires up here, I actually laid this on top evenly, because I did put, for cylinder 6, I put B for back because it faces the cooler that's in here. When I put it on there completely evenly, I took some paint tape, put a number on each cylinder all the way around for the engine, or for the plugs. And it worked out a lot easier so you don't get lost, because for some odd reason, these caps, this aftermarket cap here, and that distributor has no numbers on them. So I wanted to be sure it was done right, because I don't want any firing problems. And taking a look at this one here looks like it was replaced maybe a couple years ago, because it does not look damaged, rusted, maybe some dirt and dust. I didn't see any cracks or any chips in this, so I know there was nothing wrong with this cap. And the inside of it looks completely brand new. It looks clean, as you can tell. I don't know what the story was behind this, but we will find out later the battery is actually charging. You could tell this thing was full of oil. So oil did get inside, so feel free to comment. If there's not supposed to be oil in there, let me know, because I did clean it out. And if you also want to know how in the hell that I was able to get that new plug for the engine harness, it was actually not easy. To be able to get the female circle 3-pin connector, I went to a junkyard that I knew only one guy out of like 5 or 6 counties in Florida that actually have this same exact motor in an 87 model Dodge Ram van, the B250, with a 5.2 liter. He told me it was an 87. This connector, he actually had it. It runs here. It runs all the way down to here. That's why whoever had this vehicle had super glue, because they broke this connector at one time and they hot glued it inside here. So with me putting a new distributor on, new spark plug wires and spark plugs, I wanted to be sure it was done right. These wires were completely snapped in half. This wire here was completely broke, and there was copper hanging out. I didn't want to take any chances, so I spent $5 on the connector. It was really in like a mint condition. Ran it to the same exact wires. The only wire that makes a big difference is this wire here. This is like a blue and a black. And this one's a straight black, but these wires are still color coded. I don't think it really matters. I'm assuming that maybe back then they used this as a ground, but since whoever did this, I didn't want to take the chance of using it. I don't know if there's any moisture in it or if anything's wrong with it. I wanted to do it the right way. And plus, if I would have taken this off, I probably wouldn't remember which wire it would have went to, because they're just matching. And I didn't want to do any rig and spend extra money just to fix this little problem here. But that's some strong glue right there. It ain't going nowhere. And they actually gave me they gave me 3 extra ignition coil wires too. One was longer, which I actually enjoyed this longer one on this coil. And the other ones were shorter. This vehicle actually had a short one, so I went ahead and just used I used the ignition coil that came with these spark plug wires, and I just used them all. I just basically used all the same wires, so we know we don't have any problems. But there is a bolt here that you got to take out, and that is a 13 millimeter. I use a ratchet socket, a wrench, because I couldn't get a socket in there, and it was a little tight. But it just, you take that out, that little bracket comes off, just pull it up, and you have like a little, looks like a flathead screwdriver type in. You just basically got to slide that in there. You might have to play with it a little bit to get in there. And once it goes in. That bracket goes over top of it, bolts down, holds it down tight so it doesn't pop out. That's basically all that is. The spark plugs on this thing, the original spark plugs came out fine on this end, but I think I found out why it probably wasn't starting as well. Because these spark plugs came out fine, but they had a lot of engine oil. It was covered in engine oil, and the spark plug in the ends of the spark, where the spark happens on the spark plugs, were completely black. I mean, they were black. And they were just full of oil. So I'm thinking they might have been fouled out by the oil leak that happened on this van, because I know it had, because I pressure washed this engine lightly before to get all the oil off the transmission and everything. It was everywhere, and it was just dried up. So they said they put new spark plugs in it, but I seen all of them on this side were basically black and had oil all over them from when it was drilling oil. Because it was drilling oil from here, it was like here, and it was here, it was all over the engine, it was all over the intake manifold. And we'll show you the other side. And over here, this one was okay. This one was fouled out. It wasn't even really getting a spark. It didn't seem like, because it had a lot of engine oil on it. It was really black and covered with grime. These two didn't survive when I pulled them out gently. The top of them just broke in half without even an inch of a turn, so that might have been an issue. And this valve cover was leaking too at the time, but I already fixed that and I pressure washed it. As you can see, it's a lot cleaner than it was in the previous videos. We went ahead and replaced the PCV valve because we didn't know what the circumstances or the condition of it. This was actually dry rotted. They only carried one similar to this size with a small hole in the center. We had to cut this Gorment or Gummit seal, whatever it's called. It took us about an hour to cut it down, trim it up, so we can at least squeeze it in the hole to make it where it's shut. So we had to get a little crafty. So that's completely sealed. And we got the new connector on the right way. It's fully firm. These are connected properly. And these are the other numbers for this side and some for that side as well. And we did have to fix this. These wires here, as you can tell, it's all brand new. We had to unplug this and clean this sensor out. By the way, y'all, I think this is an oil pressure switch. I could be wrong, but if you could tell me what this is, that'd be great. That's what it looks like, but I just don't know why the hell would the ignition coil wire be running to this, and it runs up to the ignition coil for the positive side. If you can let me know what that is, that'd be great. I can't find any information online. I could be naming it wrong, but it almost looks like a oil pressure switch. Please let me know in the comments. And I'll take you to the other side and I'll show you what else I found that was wrong. So we ended up finding, when we ran these wires a little deeper here, these wires to these solenoids, if you could tell, this one is actually broke in half. And one of them runs to the EGR. No, the EGR one is safe, I think. I think it was this one was the EGR. I could be wrong. But these two hoses are broke. When I went to the junkyard to get that piece for that ignition distributor, I took a picture of this whole situation here with these lines, so where I could see exactly where they go to, because I bought the hoses to repair this. I don't know what the symptoms are as far as if this can cause a no crank, no start. I mean, I don't know if it can cause the vehicle. I don't know if it can cause the vehicle to not to turn over but won't start, or stalling. But I know they're vacuum lines. So I did put my finger on it, and it has like a little bit of light air being sucked in. So it doesn't look like it would be too complicated. I just didn't know if these just ran together, or I thought there was another hose that ran here, but there's not. Actually, there is a hose that's loose here. Holy shit. There was another vacuum problem. So now we gotta figure out where that goes. I'll have to look at the picture I got online. I think it goes probably to that line down there. I looked at the other engine to see, because like I said, a lot of stuff on this engine was taken apart. Whoever had it never put anything back together. So trying to figure out where it all goes, I had to get pictures because there's not a lot of diagrams online. So we're probably gonna slap that back on right there, is where it looks like it goes, and see what happens. But alright, I hope this video helps on the distributor problem and how to locate the wires that are being broken and how to number these. But to me, this is the easiest way to remember it, so you don't get all scrammed up and get a headache and have to go through a whole, had to keep taking it off, putting it on, taking it off. But that's the way I do it. Feel free to comment. And oh yeah, be sure these are not hitting your valve covers, because you don't want these wires to get eaten up. So I still have to do a little bit of wire snugging. That's not how it's going to stay, so don't worry. Alright, I hope y'all stay safe out there. Enjoy y'all summer, and hit the subscribe button, and y'all have a great one.